What up? Hey, it's Boogie here. So check me out. Early mornings to you, rise and grind. You know the grind don't stop. So today, got a celebrity guest. Let's go. I'm ready. Just waiting on her to get on here. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Oh, wait, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope all is well. Oh, man, I'm excited. Yo, Radiating Laughter Comedy Show. Tomorrow. We sold out. It's going down, y'all. It's going down. We are sold out. Mr. Dwayne Finley will be here. San Antonio, Texas. All Hill ENT shirt. Shout out to P. Hill. Let's go, man. I'm ready. I'm ready. It's going to be an exciting weekend. I'm excited for this interview today. Grand Rising, yes. Hey, sold out, yes. Sold out. Let's go. It's going down, man. We're going to have some fun. Have some fun, y'all. How's y'all morning going this morning? Give me some energy. Let me feel the energy, y'all. It's about to be a good interview. It's about to be a good interview. I hope y'all ready. It's about to be good. Where's she at? Where's she at? How y'all feeling this morning, though? All right. Good morning, good morning. How's everybody morning going, though? Tell me about your morning. Talk to me while we wait. What's up, y'all? How is y'all's morning going? Waiting on this young lady to get on. We got to send her a message real quick so she can, yo, hop on. Oh, man. What is up, y'all? I am up early, about to get this day started. Got some things to do today. I got to make sure all the seating arrangements is good. At Jokesters 22, Pub and Grub. For tomorrow, for the Radiating Laughter, you know what I'm saying? Hey, it's going down, y'all. It's going down. Good morning, good morning. Dang, y'all up early today? Y'all up early today? I see y'all grinding too, huh? Don't play no games. Y'all is up. Hey, y'all, it's going down tomorrow. Oh, man. So, today, we're interviewing a young lady from the TV show Motherland. Congrats on selling out. Can't wait for how it's going to be. It's going to be epic. Best believe that. We about to have some fun. I'm about to have y'all about to be rolling. Good morning. Y'all are going to be rolling. If you are going to be at the show tomorrow, be prepared to laugh. You know what I'm saying? You probably gonna feel like you did some sit-ups by the time you leave. Stomach gonna be all tight. Hello from Brazil. Yo, we got somebody from Brazil in here. Come on, man. That is dope. Brazil, man. What's up, Celine, man? What is going on, y'all? I'm waiting on my guest to get here. Y'all see I'm trying to talk it out, waiting for my guest to get here, man. Y'all talk to me. I think that's her. Here we go. Yes. Oh, here we go. There, there we go.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good, man. So, guys, as you see, I have a special guest with me today. Ma'am, can you please introduce yourself?
Will do. Hi, everyone. My name is Amalia Holm, and I play Scylla in the sci-fi fantasy show Motherland Fort Salem on Hulu and Freeform.
Now, for those who are maybe living under a rock and may not know what the show is about, can you please explain to us what the show is about?
Oh my, It's kind of a tricky question. It depends on where you want to come from. From my character's perspective, I would say the show is about, it's set in an alternate universe where there are witches and the Salem trials happened, but they were stopped by this powerful witch called Sarah Alder, like 300 years ago, because she made a deal with with the state that they would let witches live if they would take over the armed forces and protect America. So that was set in America. And then ever since, of course, I think this is how it happened. All the other countries had to follow because, if there's a witch army, we got to have that too. Yeah. And so in present day, witches are running the army, and there's a female president. Witches are usually female. There are very few male witches. And the whole, the power structure within the witch community is very matriarchal. And that has come to lead to that the entire world is basically run by women. Presidents are more usually women than men. Maybe there's a vice president who's a man. So kind of like the opposite of what we see in the world today, like in the real world.
Oh no, you dropped me!
I'm sorry. This is my first time. This is a very...
I wanted to ask you real quick. Do you think the witches got a good deal, in your opinion?
A good deal?
Mm-hmm.
No.
No. You said no.
No.
How would you have negotiated that?
Well, I mean, the position they were in at the time was pretty, it sucked. They were being killed off. So, I mean, it's a good start. But after 300 years, you would have hoped that they would have advanced in that position, and maybe that they didn't just, because now they're, in my character's opinion, and kind of in my opinion too, they're living in the mercy of the civilians being non-witches, aka humans. And I just wish that they could get to exist and have a life that wasn't only about being conscripted and serving their entire lives. And also they're very obsessed about keeping their bloodlines and that kind of stuff. And I don't think there would have been that obsession in such a toxic way if they would have adjusted their positions over these 300 years. What do you think about the deal? Do you think it's a good one?
Let's see. No, definitely not. I mean, being that they had powers, I mean, I don't know. I would look, I can either cast a spell on y'all, or we can work something else different, because at the end of the day, how are regular humans going to face against witches in the first place? We can't go against the Avengers, you know what I mean?
True. Well, I mean, in season 2 that's airing right now, you're going to get to see how, normal people are trying to fight these witches. And they've actually been very creative in their ways of fighting witches. It's pretty scary, I'd say. So yeah, they're using technology, but the development of technology in this world is so different from ours too. Because as you would usually say about the real world is that, warfare has in many ways advanced technology. They came up with bombs and stuff and dynamite to be able to have warfare. And so in this world, you don't really have to do that because the warfare has been carried out by witches, right? So I think that has stalled the advancement of technology in that world. But I don't have any, I don't know what's true about that because we haven't gotten into that in the storytelling yet.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, what did civilians have that scared the witches to even agree to this? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I want to make. Is that something that we might learn later on in the season?
Yeah, I mean, why they agreed to it was probably because they were outnumbered and they weren't organized, right? Whereas in this world, I mean, in Motherland, in this day, they're very well organized, right? It's an army and it's very official and you're being recruited and all that. So if the witches were to turn on the humans, I think they could.
Yes.
So yeah, why don't they? Maybe they're trying to be good. They're trying to coexist, I guess, and not do the thing that people did against them 300 years ago. But yeah, back then I think they were all very isolated. They didn't know there were witches, most of them probably. And yeah, there's a theme on that in this season too. On, you know, yeah, all the little girls who don't know they're witches yet. Maybe because there's been some witch blood further back in their ancestry, and they just don't know about it. And I don't even know if everyone will like develop the witch vocal cords and stuff if you don't have enough of it in you.
Okay, so this TV show is actually based off of a book.
Well, the thing is, the creator Elliot Lawrence is like, he created the original. It's an original. It's straight from his head, and it was in his head for 10 years, and then I think he went into wanting to make a movie first, and then a series, and then when working on making it a series, I think that's when it became a book, or it was the other way around. Anyway, it's based on a book in that case, or a book idea that was never published. So the book isn't to be found yet. I don't know. I'm hoping that he'll get the book out there too, because I think that'd be a lot of fun for the fans to, you know, get into the actual heads of the characters. So that'd be fun. But so you're right.
Okay, so speaking of books, what are some of your favorite books?
Well, favorite book. To me, I feel like books are such a fresh, I don't know, it's whatever suits me that year, or where I'm at in that place, or but some of the books that I've kept like close to my heart, that I keep when I'm traveling and such, are books like there's a book called Yes Please by Amy Poehler, and actually it's a book called The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand, which I think it's fun to read and to like dissect and pick my cherries from it. It can be really inspirational, creatively. And then what else? I don't know. I feel like I read a lot of Swedish books that are like published in the year and that you probably wouldn't have heard of, because I don't think they would have become that big yet, or traveled abroad really.
Well, it sounds like to me that your favorite book will depend on your mood that day.
Yeah, kind of, or so, like or that year, that my mood that year.
So what would you say your happy book is? Like, if you want to be in a better mood, what book are you going to read?
I mean, I don't really have comfort books the way I have like a comfort TV show, maybe.
Okay, let's go with that. Let's rock with that. What's your comfort TV show?
Well, right now, it's actually also a Swedish one. But if it wasn't, or when I'm abroad, it's, what has it been? I rewatched Girls, and that became kind of a comforting one, because it was the second time I watched it. You know, much of the comfort is just in like knowing it, and you're watching it again because you already know it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what's your category when it comes to TV shows? What do you like? Like scary, like thriller, like romance? What are we talking about?
I think I'm kind of an all-eater.
Okay.
I'm sorry, this is a boring answer, but it also kind of depends on, what am I lacking right now? And like, if I'm really nervous about something, then I'd go for a comedy or a romantic comedy and stuff like that. And then if I'm feeling too comfortable, I'll go for a scary one. I really enjoy watching shows with people, or at least like some shows that are maybe a little bit more stimulating, like morally and such. Like Watchmen, I really enjoyed.
Yes.
That. I really enjoyed that. And
really?
Like watching it and being like, what do you feel like that? And, trying to guess what's going to happen and stuff like that. And also Mindhunter, I really enjoyed. And that's just because it almost feels like a documentary, but it's not. And so it's a very pleasing documentary vibe. But on documentaries, I recently, or when I was filming season 2 in Canada, I watched The Vow on HBO. Did you watch that?
I haven't. I seen the previews, and I'm like, ooh, I want to see that.
I mean, episode 8. If either you just jump to episode 8, or if you get to episode 8, I would say that's like a lesson on misogyny in relationships, especially in hetero relationships. I'd say. I mean, that's what's being displayed in that one. But it's also on like how a female collective will contribute in misogyny towards someone because it's beneficial. I mean, it's how everyone is benefiting off a misogynist system in that way. And yeah, and just how to break people down and yeah, all that. So
have you been in a situation, a misogynistic situation before? Like,
yeah, totally. Oh, absolutely.
so tell me about how you handled it.
I don't know, just sometimes maybe I've been a little too naive about people's intentions, and then all of a sudden I find myself adjusting and adapting a little.
Okay.
I have this Instagram, like a lock so that I don't spend my entire day on Instagram, and it just kicked me out. But I said,
Do you set that up on purpose? You like to keep your minimization on social media?
Yes, I absolutely.
Why do you do that?
Oh, because I mean, I'm addicted. Like, it's very addictive. I'm not better than the algorithms. Like, they get me. So I have to put up things like that to keep sane.
Yeah.
And like to go outside, or I'll be on Instagram outside too. No, but anyways, and then you find yourself outside of your comfort zone and outside of your boundaries, and it's passing. I don't know how to explain this, but it's the way I found myself in that situation was that it felt like unless you have an active defense, like an active defense towards that sort of behavior, some people can get you using those points and those switches in your system because you're taught to act a certain way and to please people in a certain way and to be accommodating. So if that's taken for granted or exploited, then you'll find yourself drained and things like that. And I mean, this goes for so many situations. It doesn't have to be, male, female, or, I mean, we're all in just power situations. So, I mean, it can be, yeah, I think you get it. Like, all around.
Well, in the world of Motherland, like I say, it's a woman-ran world, it seems. Could you see yourself living in a woman-ran world? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Oh, I think that's really interesting. A few years ago, I was, sorry, it's just really hot in here. So.
It's okay.
There was a discussion in my group of peers on, and this is like an old feminist discussion on, so would the world be better if women were in charge? Like, is it a biological...
Women are in charge, to be honest. If I don't know, in my opinion, women do run the world, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they run the little world, but it's still like the most, the richest 1% is still men, and it's probably like white men. So it's, and they just get undercover, like they don't get enough coverage on that and on how like these big companies and blah. In a Swedish context, I would call myself a social liberal, but I understand if I sound a bit communist in an American sense, but I just feel like there can always be a little bit more focus and criticism towards how the power of money and old money and how that's intricate in a system is.
Yes.
how that keeps ruling the world. And I feel like, this girl boss theme that's been in pop culture for the past few years feels a bit fake, in the sense that it feels a bit shallow. Just like sometimes representation of all kinds is shallow in a way so that we'll stop complaining, but there's no real change,
Yeah, yes.
The power is still with the white men.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like, and it sounds like, it's like, oh, this is this is a diverse leadership, or it's,
Yes.
they not to say that I'm all against, what's it called again? When you put someone in charge because you want to change the.
Yes. Pretty much diversify a company and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's the term, but
Yeah, and I mean, do it for real. That's
yes,
all.
exactly.
Like, don't just put someone's face on there and then not live up to it. And so, therefore, well, to go back to, so I don't really feel like women run the world, but I'm definitely with you on the fact that there's so many more females in like big positions and such, and it's really interesting to see how they faced different kind of criticism, just like everyone who's not a white male will face like prejudice even when they're in that powerful position, even more, like just how we see like in the Euro games now, the black players, or just like even like we had the same in Sweden a few years ago, just a player who was a really good one and who was in the Swedish team, but he was not from like a Caucasian, he was not Caucasian, and when he messed up, he got 1,000 times more hate than any other player any white player who would mess up, because it's like, oh, it's a freeway for their racism to them. It's like, oh yeah. So, it just really, it gets me upset. So
Yeah. I love the passion though. I love the passion. Like, you are so relatable. It's crazy,
Well, I'm glad you get me, because I feel like I'm just stumbling on all of this because
I understand you.
yeah, you do. And so, would the world be better if women were in charge?
That's
really hard. Yeah, and it's interesting because it's sort of, it depends on if you're approaching the question as to, are you talking cis women and like that it's a biological thing that women would be more nurturing, or are you talking like the way we raise women, or people who are like identified?
I'm talking more of the world itself. Would it be a more nurturing place rather than based off of war?
I don't know, because I feel like power corrupts people. That's what we see in Motherland too. Mm-hmm. And I don't think women are vaccinated against that. I just feel like they haven't had enough power for them to show if they would be power crazy as the men would. Because men have been in charge for so long. Of course, we've seen all their bad sides. But I mean, some would say that Margaret Thatcher was that kind of woman. And so many people would say that, a good leader wouldn't be scared to go into war and blah, blah, blah. That pressure would also be on a female leader.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it's not an easy question, but I would hope so. And I hope that for some reason, and I don't have the answer to why women are acting maybe more nurturing, and there's so many power struggles within just female groups and communities too. They're just different, and I don't know, would they be dangerous in a different sense maybe than actual combat in that sense? And would it be I think that's a hard question. I just feel like we can't leave it like there's not a leeway. Is that a word? Is that like
yeah.
Yeah. Does it mean something along the lines of you can do whatever you want? Is that a leeway? Yeah. So there's not a leeway for female leaders. Like they'll have, and as there isn't for male leaders or non-binary leaders, like everyone will have to do their best to be good people and good leaders and respect human rights and never stop protecting them. And also, developing them and see how we keep them when we progress forward, because they've never been like, they can never be taken for granted, and we weren't born with them, or we didn't have them. I mean, they've been developed in our civilization. So how will that change with climate change and, the flooding and the heat waves and all that? Will that mean we'll have to adjust what human rights are? And yeah, I think those things are interesting but hard. I don't feel like I have any answer to them. I had a lot of opinions on those things a few years ago, and then I just realized that I don't know anything. Do you feel me?
But the longer you live, the longer you figure out you don't know anything.
Yeah. And then you're like, what did the 19-year-old me say? Okay, I'm glad it's not okay, because that was stupid.
Oh man. Okay. So going back to the TV show.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you first read the script? Like, how did you relate?
First of all, I was just thrilled to be playing a villain. Because, when I read the first script, it was like, this is a terrorist, and she's going to manipulate this girl, and there was no promise of, like, a further story than that. It was just like, this is free agent. So that was very exciting. And, I mean, I was halfway through my studies in social science at the Swedish Defense University. So we study a lot on war and international conflict. And that just made it all the more interesting, because there's this critical thinker on terrorism. It's not terrorism. It's on, it's a, maybe, do you know Frantz Fanon? No, I didn't know about him before, but my friend told me about him, and he calls himself, the books he's written would be categorized as anti-colonialism instead of post-colonialism, and it's on how armed, like, that it's legitimate to arm yourself when you're fighting an oppressional system, a system of oppression, yeah. And that really, I mean, that was the exact same ideology that the Spree was founded on, and that, like, we're in such a big crisis, this is the only way. Because the Spree's analysis is, of course, that this oppression has been on for 300 years, and that the army is like the puppets of the civilians, and that they're forcing us to die, and that we don't really have, any value except for being those military puppets. And so I felt like I resonated a lot with that, because I had a lot of thoughts on it. No answers, of course, but thoughts and questions. So,
So, I mean, was it more of a? So was it more of a connection, or was it more of an interest?
It was more of an interest. Yeah, definitely. More of an interest, and like, oh, a challenge, because it's a character not like anyone I've ever played before. And I love the dialogue and, like, the way the love relationship developed and all of that. So yeah.
So I want to know, I mean, how did you get into character? Because this character, man, the looks you give sometimes is like, ooh, I don't want to mess with her.
Yay! I feel like my whole life I've been trying to, not my whole life, I mean, I've lived a little too, but, trying to be accommodating and be nice, of course, and be a good person has been really important to me for many reasons, and just, like, always trying to find, like, what's the right thing to do. And that's the one thing I could relate to in Scylla, because she does that too, but she just has a completely different analysis. She thinks the good and the right and the only just thing to do is to be this terrorist and murder people, and anything goes when that's the goal. I mean, that's not the goal. The goal is to free all witches, but you know what I mean. So I guess I just try to be as badass as, I sometimes wish I was myself. And
you don't want to know who. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. But who did you think of to get yourself into character? Like, who was your example?
I feel like I had an example. Yeah, I just don't remember them right now. What did I think of? I have this, like, 2 notebooks full of thoughts on this, but I don't have them available today.
Was there like a character in another TV show or another movie where you were like, I'm gonna go with the blueprint. I'm gonna take the blueprint off of this person?
Okay, I have one that I can give you, but I've been told not to share this because it's so off-putting.
Okay, let's go. Let's get it.
Okay, but this isn't really on your question, but it's a trivia. So, I mean, some people might not want to hear this because it might ruin the whole scene for you. So in that case, I'm sorry. Do you know in episode 7 or 9, like 7 and 9 in season 1, when Scylla's kept in a cage or like in a cell, and Rael comes there, she's being brought there just so that they can get to Scylla's head and all that. And when they drag, and they're like finally in each other's arms, and they thought each other were dead, and all this, just like, and they're really upset, and it's a heartwarming moment, but also heartbreaking. And then Rael is being pulled away, and because they just really want to put Scylla in the most distress possible so they can get to her. And when she's being pulled away, my inspiration for that, because in some takes you're really in the moment, and then after 20 takes and it's from another angle, and it's just like, how do I get to that same point, but you might not be able to get in the same emotion. My inspiration with that was Gollum in Lord of the Rings. Eagle screams for the ring. That was what I felt like. I felt that because I really emphasized with Gollum. I mean, from Gollum's perspective, it is his precious being stolen from him, or him. And that desperation is so primal, and it's so like, so that's what I let her feel.
Well, it worked. I tell you that it worked. So as of right now, probably not at first, but as of right now, you're like a likable villain because now you're becoming more remorseful. Like we're starting to relate. We're starting to see or feel what you're feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's great. And I know that some fans were really disappointed. I don't know if they were disappointed, but they were hoping that Scylla didn't commit the things in the mall, and like that killing 1,300 civilians, and hoping that it was another face or like it was someone other's breed, but it was Scylla. And I'm glad that it's out already so that everyone can deal with it, because sometimes
are you getting hate messages now?
No, not anymore.
Not anymore.
No, actually, I must say all the hate towards Scylla was pretty discreet. I was seldomly tagged in it. It was like most of the time it was just like, it could pop up in my feed and stuff, or like my mom would see a lot of it. And she was like, you know what they're writing about you? And I'm like, Mom, why would I want to know that? Don't tell me.
That's so funny.
But no hate messages. And I just, I think it's good to have to reevaluate your heroes and to not let it be okay. It's not in any way justifiable what she did, I'd say.
Yeah.
But like you said, if there's a redemption, or is it remorse, or is it just a bigger understanding of what she's done, and that's also to live to see the consequences of it and live to see the suffering she caused. So
who are some of your favorite relatable villains? Kind of like Killmonger, you know what I mean?
Ooh, that's fun. I feel like I have a few. Can you tell me some of yours, and I'll just
Thanos was a good relatable villain because his thoughts was he wanted to take out half the population so the other half of the population could live and thrive. Killmonger, of course, he wanted his people to rise. You know what I mean? He felt his people were oppressed. That was his reasoning for doing what he did. So those are two of them for me.
Yeah. I mean, all villains who have something else than just a narcissistic need to destroy, or the Joker, for example. People will bring up the Joker and say that he's relatable in some sense. I mean, he's likable because depending on how he's played, kind of depending on the actor too, but I wouldn't say that he's not justifiable. Like what he does isn't. He just wants to create chaos because he thinks that the world is morally corrupt. If that's,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the analysis.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not good enough for me. Like he can't just decide that the world is corrupt, morally corrupt, and therefore go killing and destroying people. So I feel like you said, there has to be a big reason like that. Like there has to be a trade-off. You're trying to save something, and you're actually thinking about a great good. But I mean, the problem is, most people think they're acting from a good place, right?
Yes,
Not many
everybody, really.
Like nobody would say I'm a bad person unless it's because they want you to tell them, no, you're not.
Yeah. I mean, Hitler himself, I'm pretty sure, thought he was doing something good.
Yeah.
If you could switch roles with any of the characters in the TV show, or play any other character, who would it be?
On Motherland?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it would be so much fun. I mean, I think all the characters are so nuanced and have a fun backstory. And I think Abigail Bellwether has such a fun story, and just the heightened position she has, and the pressure from all around, and the historical, pressure on like, this is our line, we've always been so good at this, and you have to reprocreate super fast and choose all of that. So, and I mean, I'd play her sister.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to take the role from Ashley, never. So, but if in some way, like, there could be a second Abigail, I'd love to do that. Or of course, I mean, who wouldn't say yes to playing General Alder?
Okay. So why Abigail though? But why?
Why Abigail? Just because I mean, she's being put through hell over and over again, and like it's acting that is, of course, takes a lot of energy. There's a lot of putting yourself through all of that, because in some way you always got to relate to what's happening, and you got to feel it and all that. But I feel like just it's also that I love Catherine Lohequist so much, who plays Petra Bellwether. She's a wonderful person, and to act with her and having her like tell you that you're that you have to live up to her standards and never being good enough for her and all of that. It just looks like Ashley's having so much fun with it.
So who would you say has the hardest role? Would you say is her, or who would you say has the hardest role?
That's really hard.
I'm tell you who I think. I think the general may have the hardest role. But who do you think?
I was leaning towards the general too. I mean, it's really hard to decide between the three girls, because I like their backstories, and I love how Tally's from this matrifocal, a pacifist matrifocal, and how Raelle is like half civilian, half witch, and what that brings to her. And and they all have their struggles. No, I think I'd go with, but also Anacostia has a really interesting background, being raised like on base, and what does that do to you? Because you've got a family, but in another way you really don't, because it's so sterile, and so.
Well, I'm talking about as an actor though, not as a character, but as an actor.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm thinking like on how the character is, because that's what you've got to display, right? That's what you've got to have with you in the story. But I think I'd say, I'd say General Alder too, because it's a lot of work for her to be likable, right? Or to be relatable, because she's this very fierce leader who's made a lot of bad decisions. And is that justifiable or not? Could she have done better? Probably. But would she know how to do it? Is she too afraid to ask for help? Is it justifiable that she's so defensive of her power and all of that? So, And I know how extreme, like Lynn puts in so much work. Like she's just really very detailed and I don't know the right word for this, but something there's a lot of effort in her preparations. She's nothing like her character.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Nothing.
what makes a great actress, is when they are totally different from the roles that they're playing.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
same for you. Like, sitting here talking with you right now, you were like totally different from your character.
Thank you.
That's like I said, that shows great skill, plain and simple. So you said you just said earlier y'all had like 20 takes. What's the longest you've been on set?
Oh, some of our days, especially in season 1, could be like 15 or 16 hours, but you're not spending all that time on set, of course, because there's hours in the hair and makeup and all that stuff. And of course, I mean, we're not there for all the heavy lifting, which is the camera crew and all of that. So I don't know, maybe, but there's a lot of waiting usually. So you're on set, but you're just sitting around, and then when the camera's ready, you go in and you do your thing. And when it's like 20 takes, it's not 20 takes of you doing the actual scene from one angle. Of course, I don't know how in.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. But it's, and then we're going to get just the feed, but you're going to do the scene anyways, or we're going to get the other character, of course, the other actor's perspective and their close-ups and far away and so. So I don't know if that answered your question.
No. Do you get to see the finishing of the episode before we see it, or you see it at the same time we see it?
There's after you shoot the season, you do ADR when you go into a studio, and I do it in Stockholm, and you go in and you do a little voiceover on some of the scenes where maybe there was a plane, or there was too much noise, or like the fabric of the costume was in the way, so you can really hear the pronunciation of the word, or maybe they changed a line or two. And I love those moments because then you get to see the scene before it's all finished, but you don't get to see that much, hopefully, because like most of the time the sound's really good, because I mean the sound people are really good at their job.
Mm-hmm.
So no, we don't get to see anything really before it's airing. This year we got to see episode 1 and episode 2 like a few weeks in advance, because we were doing press, and so to be able to talk about those episodes, because it was the same episodes that the journalists had been watching. So every Tuesday now I'm watching an episode for the first time, and it's at 4 a.m. Swedish time. So I'm like going to sleep, putting my alarm on 3:45, and then I get up and I'm like, oh, what? Especially because because of COVID, you couldn't come visit each other on set either. Normal year of shooting, you could come in and hang out and just watch your colleagues kick ass and all of that, which is really wonderful, especially if there's like a scene that you read that you're really intrigued by. And so this year you can really do that. So it's a lot of fun in just watching my colleagues work, because we've been pretty separated this year too in our storylines.
What's crazy is, at us as viewers, we figure you're gonna know what the episode's about because you were in it. But like watching Marvel movies, they act out the scenes, but they still have no idea what the plot or what's going on in the movie. How is that possible? Is it because you might be filming the end of the episode first and the middle of the episode at the end? Like, is that why it becomes confusing to you as the actress?
I mean, for Marvel, maybe there's like I don't know, like a secrecy thing that they can't read each other's scenes and stuff. But on Motherland, we get to read the full script, so I know what's going to happen and all that. But you never know what's going to happen on set, right? If they improvise or they change something, or in the editing or in the post-production, maybe they change a special effect or something. So
how do you deal with changes, like when they change things in the moment? Maybe your lines, like, does that make you more nervous? Like, how do you deal with that? Is it stressful?
Sometimes it's stressful. Sometimes it's fun. It really depends on the day. Like, if I'm waking up and I'm like, today I feel on fire and I'm ready to improvise and I'm ready to throw any curveball at me, then it's just fun, right? But if it's a bad day and you're really, like, you didn't sleep very well and you're nervous about your scene, then it's like, no, I cannot take that curveball right now. And it's really like, you'll have to put in a lot more effort. But of course, you'll always be able to change it. And hopefully you agree with the change too, and you can have a discussion on it. And like, but from my perspective, my character would say something more like this, or how do you feel about that word? And I feel like we always have great discussions on that on Motherland. The directors are very, very like down to earth and communicative.
Earlier you had said that you were in school, correct?
In school?
In school, were you in school? I mean, you said you were learning something about something history. You was in school, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so was acting your? Did you know you were going to be an actress? Like,
No.
How did this come about?
Well, I always kind of wanted to, but I didn't see it as like a real possibility. Like, can you really work with that? Like, it doesn't happen for many people in a way that you can make money off. So I didn't really see it as, an option really. And then I just did it for fun. And I was on an extras website when I was 16. And there was an open call for a role in a feature film in Sweden. And I had just cut my hair pretty short. And I went to that audition, and it was perfect because it was set in the 40s, and it was like a white Swedish girl with short hair. So I was like, it wasn't a big part, but it was a lot of fun. And through that, I got my agent. And then things kept on rolling. And I still just thought of it as a fun hobby, like probably the best part of my life, but nothing to depend on. Mm-hmm. So, and also I had a big interest in politics, and I worked a bit with like NGOs and stuff like that in Sweden. So I kept my focus somewhere else, which was helpful to me because I tend to get really disappointed if I'm like mentally too invested, and I mean that's not me, that's most people, I guess. But, you know, if you're really like set on something and you already start visualizing how you're gonna do it, then it's just heartbreaking and it crushes you when you get a no. So my way of protecting myself from that was to keep several doors open, and I would go to school. And you know, in Sweden, higher education is free, so I didn't invest that much because, you know, I didn't lose money going to school in that sense. And also, if you in a semester you take several courses, and you can skip a course and you can do it again a year later, sort of. So I would go to school, but then if an audition came up or if a job came off, I would pause it, but you don't have to do it officially. Like, it's really easy to do, and you'll just get back to it, or you'll have like a second examination and just read it up on your own. So I kind of kept that as my, like, this is what I'm going to do for a living, and then acting is just soul food and just for fun. And right now it is what I do for a living, and I hope it stays that way. But if it doesn't, I feel like I'm gonna survive it. Like, I'll be prepared.
Yeah.
Because it's really sometimes it's not about talent or hard work. A lot of it is, of course, and especially hard work and putting yourself out there and not giving up, even though you got 500 no's. But I would say that there are trends in looks as well, and who'll get the job and for what reason. And you can be politics, yeah. And there's a flow, and then there's not, and then you're too old, or you look too old, or you look too young, but you sound too old. And it's like, and it's also like, I think it's really funny in casting, like who can play siblings on TV, for example. It's usually not real siblings because they don't look alike in the right way. Like, it's sometimes they're just like, oh, but you have that hair color and you have that hair color and you have the same skin tone and you have the same nose. You're siblings. But real siblings, it's not always like that, right? So, yes, I think that's just a fun and weird thing about casting. And sometimes there's like a really, really definite and specific idea they have for what the energy, or I would say the energy they want this character to give out. And I've been, like most actors, I've been really, really close in getting some parts where I'm like, they chose someone who looks and sounds and is exactly like me, and people are saying that we look alike and all that, like what where did I fail? Like what part of my energy was off, or why couldn't I do that job? And you never know, and it's not possible to predict, you know. So I feel lucky to have another like a side interest. I'm sorry about the silence.
Yeah, yo, it's crazy because y'all's ambulance sounds totally different from ours.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, that was a fire truck.
Oh, what? See, I thought that was an ambulance.
And yeah, so I mean, my hopes are that I can continue acting, but you never know. And then maybe you don't get a job for 20 years, and then you're back on again, and then you get an Oscar at 82.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. Like Olivia Colman, she wasn't 82, she was 70, I think. But yeah.
So do you see yourself getting deeper and becoming like director, writing shows yourself? Like, or you want to just stick with being an actor?
I have some ideas for things that I want to write, but I just think it's really hard to write, and I really look up to good writers and writers in general just for getting it out there. And yeah, I'm struggling with those pieces and just like have them as plot ideas and such. And then I kind of always wanted to it started off with wanting to be a script supervisor because I just love the details and like stick to the script. But then that developed, and I felt like directing would be fun, but there's no rush. Like, I would love to have a lot more experience and also like know how to spot a good coworker. I feel like I'm starting to feel that, but you know, being able to spot the person before you work together for a few months, so that you set up the perfect team that's just like warm and professional and inclusive and really supporting of each other and can, yeah, you know, work those hours without getting on each other's backs.
So what type of director do you think you would be? Would you be a strict director? What type of director would you be?
I hope I would be a playful but strict director. Like strict in the sense of like, don't fool around.
Yeah.
But saying like, let's have a go. You know, you just want to, like in all kinds of leadership, you just want to get people to a place where they can perform their best and feel good about themselves. Because that's when they just like elevate in their performance. And
okay.
And also like not take up like all the space, but let them have the fun, kind of like not like I feel like because that's so much fun with being an actress. It's like you're just responsible for yourself and all the extra work you do for like including people or helping someone who's like having a hard day or like helping the crew in any way you can be helpful. That's just extra, right? But when you're a director, you're the leader.
Mm-hmm.
Like
you're the general.
You can't let people down in the same way. So yeah, I'm excited to do that, but I also feel like I have a few years left before that.
All right, so let's pretend you got a TV show. What is your TV show about?
A TV show. I mean, my
Your
ideas are all like short films and features and stuff, but a TV show, I mean, I would love to do a TV show on like student unions.
Okay.
But that's just because I spent a lot of time being involved in those when I was younger, so I had like a lot of weird dilemmas and scenes from that.
You gotta see a TV show called Dear White People.
Oh yeah.
Dear White People is kind of that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I've just seen one episode, but it is. Yeah, and that's the setting, and I love that setting. And yeah, the setting of a campus is always fun because it's like its own little world, and you can decide yourself as a filmmaker if you want to let it go further than that or if you want to make it smaller. And it's just a lot of people have some sort of reference to it, or they know someone who's gone to school, and yeah, I don't feel like I'm in a place where I know what that TV show would be. Like most things, I don't really know if I like them before I partake in them or read the script, or like, and then there's a very strong gut feeling. guess. So I feel like that's hard to predict.
So I have a question. So are you Swedish? Is that where you were born and raised?
Yeah, that's where I'm right now too. Yeah.
So for y'all who feel that she keeps saying, I don't know if I have the word for it, it's because she's not from here. You know what I'm saying? So every language different. You speak several different languages, correct?
Sorry?
You speak several different languages?
Not. Did you say several or seven?
Several.
Oh, yes, not seven, but several, yeah. And I haven't really spoken English in a while because I haven't been working. We got home. I got home from Canada in April, and since then I haven't been in North America at all. So except for the interviews, there's no. I mean, and then talking to my friends over there, of course, and colleagues. But so yeah, that's why I'm looking for words at times.
So I'm curious about this. Sorry, but when you're speaking these different languages, right? Does your expression I don't know, do you gotta kind of get in character for these languages per se? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it sucks to speak English because I feel like my jokes don't really come across, or they're like really weak in English, but they're so much fun in Swedish, in my opinion. But then I try them in Swedish and nobody laughs. So it's probably just weak jokes, but that's part of it is that the part of your, like, the way you're used to presenting yourself and gotten used to and being used to being perceived is different. And so you just have to get used to that. And now after 3 years of Motherland, I feel like I'm getting more and more comfortable in my English person or personality.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's that much different. It's, of course, it's just for me, and it is me, but it's the same with when I'm speaking Norwegian, because I was born in Norway and I lived there until I was 7. So my vocabulary in Norwegian is like of a 7-year-old. And I think I get like a higher pitch in my voice too, maybe because I like spoke it as a child. And when I speak it, it's only with my relatives, and I kind of get like into a little, you play a role in all settings. And so with my grandma, that's me and my grandma. So,
what's your first language?
my first language is Swedish.
Got you. And what would you say is the hardest? What was the hardest language? Well, first, let me ask you this. What all languages do you know?
I speak Swedish, Norwegian, English, and German.
Okay. Now, which one of those is the hardest?
Right now it's German because that's what I speak the least. So, it's such a... What's the word again? I don't know. It's just something you got to keep up to date to be able to do it. I wanted to learn Russian like a year ago, but it's a whole new alphabet and all that. And, I really admire people who can keep track of several alphabets. Like if you speak Chinese and Arabic and Russian and Afrikaans, for example, and like, yeah. What languages do you speak?
Just English.
Yeah.
Un poquito español.
Nice. Muy bien.
Which is the easiest to speak or learn?
Well, the thing is, Swedish, Norwegian, and German are all from the same, I don't know what that's called, but like the root of languages, or like family of languages. They're all Germanic. So when I was little, because I spoke both Swedish and Norwegian, when I had German in class, I could usually just guess the word, and about the third guess would be right. Because I would just like mix Swedish and Norwegian words and like put them together, and then like with a little German twist, and that's the word. So in that way, the easiest, because I never felt like I learned Swedish or Norwegian. They were just with me because I had a Swedish parent and a Norwegian parent. So I guess it would be German. And then English. In Sweden, we watch English TV shows from when we're 8 or 9. So like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or The Simpsons, like that's what we do after school.
Yeah.
And it's not dubbed, which is such a blessing. So
that's cool. So can you teach me, some things real quick? I want to learn. Let's go.
Yeah, of course.
Teach me
So,
from Sweden.
Sweden, okay. Is there like any theme you would like to know something on? Like, what do you want to be able to do with this?
Where is the nearest store?
Okay. Var ligger den närmaste affären?
Oh my God.
Sorry, it's a long one. So it's var ligger is where lays, because that's how you, like, a store will lay somewhere. That's how you say it, in like grammatically. So var ligger
Var ligger
den närmaste affären?
Man. All right, say that one more time.
Okay. Var ligger
Var ligger
den närmaste affären?
den närmaste
Affären.
affären?
Yeah, the closest store. Den is the, närmaste is closest, affären is store.
This is hard, y'all. I got myself something. How about hello?
Hey.
Hey? What do you
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, hey.
Really? It's like that's how it is here.
But not really, because it's a different, the Y is a J and it's pronounced J. So it's hey.
Oh.
So, I mean, there's a nuance. I mean, you totally, the thing is, everyone in Sweden speaks, or at least very well understands English. So if you come in, you just make sure you don't say hey, but hey.
With a J at the end. Or something.
Yeah, and hey, hey.
Silent J.
Yeah, but also the E is, so it's H-E-J. Hey.
Okay.
You
So,
got it?
okay, you said, so another language, you said German, you know German as well, right?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Guten Morgen.
Guten Morgen.
Yeah, you know that one.
Yeah, okay, that was a little bit more easier.
Yeah. And that one in Norwegian is God morgen.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, we learning some stuff here today, y'all. What is your favorite thing to say in Sweden? What's your favorite thing to say? Or can you say it?
Favorite thing to say in Swedish? Like, what's your favorite thing to say in English? Do you have a favorite thing to say?
Ooh, I didn't expect that when she flipping on me, y'all. She flipping on me. What's up?
Yeah. And in Swedish, that would be vad händer?
I like it. Oh,
But a lot of Swedes
sound like
say
Thor.
what's up. Huh?
You kind of sound like Thor.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like the Norse gods.
Yeah, that's good on him. Good on the accent. Okay. I have a thing I'm saying these days. That would be that something is like, instead of something saying that something's cool or whatever, I would say that it's probably like the translation of banging, kind of like that's banging or something. Yeah. So you would say det är dunder. Det är dunder. That is dunder. Dunder.
I'm using that. That's my new thing now. That's it. It's over now.
Yeah,
I'm still it. It's okay.
Yeah,
Don't
just go around saying that's dunder.
All right. Is it hard for you to control your accent in certain scenarios, in certain roles?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm Lynn isn't, she's not she's not a native in English either. So I talked to her on how she works with her scripts, and she gave me some good ideas and tips on, like, because what we struggle with is the TH. For Swedes and all Europeans, it usually becomes d. It's like a D sound, because we're too lazy with our tongues and making a the. So to circle those is really helpful in the script. But other than that, to me, it's basically about, like, don't talk to anyone at home on the day of shooting. Like, in the morning, I'll have to talk to, like, the driver, or all my co-workers at work, and just keep talking and, like, keep babbling all day to stay on the accent. The problem is though, because we're shooting in Canada, some of our coworkers have really heavy Canadian accents, so you don't want to pick up on those because I'm not experienced enough to always see the difference in a Canadian and an American accent. So I'm just going to mirror whoever I'm talking to. So I'm just hoping you've got the right accent that I'm supposed to talk with.
Yeah. Wow. That's funny. Has anybody looked at you like, are you making fun of me?
Yeah, but that usually just happens in Swedish accents, because all the regional accents, and you're talking to someone, and all of a sudden you just notice you're just changing your tone and your melody, and they're like, "Yeah, that's how I talk. You don't have to."
Yeah. Do you fear losing your accent?
What accent? Like my Swedish accent? Oh no! I'm fighting really hard to get rid of it, or like I'm not fighting that hard. I'm fighting very passively. It's not really a fight. It's just like, yay, let's get rid of it. So I'd happily lose it.
I mean, do you see yourself moving to the States anytime?
Like temporary, yes. Like several times. I'd love to have a place to go to in the States, to be able to go for months, but then still have my base in Sweden. I know.
Where would you choose?
New York or LA, I think. Just because I don't know that much about other places. I've been to Florida, but other than that, and I've been to Austin in Texas, but
hey, Austin,
yeah,
right up the street. That's like an hour away.
Yay!
Yeah,
that's a really nice city.
Yes,
oh.
It is.
Yeah.
You have fun in Austin. What did you do when you went to Austin?
I went for South by Southwest.
Yes. Oh, that's cool.
I can't wait to go back there. And also explore Texas more. I'd really love to do that. Because
did we as Texans sound funny to you?
Some, but it's like with all accents. Like if the accent's heavy enough, it's funny. But it's also really cool, and there's personality in a heavy accent. So I really I appreciate that. In Norway, for example, they've been conserving their accents by making sure it's a really the diversity of accents represented on TV. So the people who read the news will have all different accents, whereas in Sweden, almost all of the news presenters have a Stockholm accent. So everyone just sounds the same. And if you're from a little city with a very heavy accent, you're kind of being taught, consciously or subconsciously, to get rid of your accent to be able to pass in Stockholm. And I think that's a shame, because I love accents. If I get a little drunk, I'm always this close to challenging someone in an accent battle.
Have you ever been away from home so long that you came back with a whole nother accent?
I would definitely say that I came home with a lesser vocabulary. When I was working in Canada now, a lot of my words, I just replaced them with English words. So I really sounded in Sweden, that would be considered a jet setter person who's oh, I'm American now, I'm too good for you. And I'm no, I can't do better than this. My brain's messed up. Or when I worked in Norway for a few months last spring, I came back with the wrong grammar, because the grammar is pretty different in those two languages, even though they're pretty similar. So that's almost harder, because sometimes you don't even know when you're saying the wrong thing, because it's hard to keep them apart.
Where are you most recognized at? Would you say in Sweden, or would you say in America or Canada? Where do you think you're most noticed, or known?
Online? I don't know what place really, because I haven't.
You have so many fans from all over the world. I'm looking at these comments, and I'm talking. They're from everywhere, man, everywhere. But I imagine because of this new TV, because of the new show, that maybe you might be more known in America.
Yeah, I do think so. I mean, the only interference I've had with, but it's also that Swedes are pretty shy, or not shy, but they're they would never, very seldom tell you if they recognize you from something. So it's hard to know, because people don't come up even comment on it in Sweden most of the time. And also the show isn't out in Sweden. But yeah, the last months in Canada when it was out there, there was some people were recognizing me and so. But then also when I was working in Oslo last spring, when COVID hit, I met this girl from New York in the lobby of my hotel, and she, she didn't have her keys, she didn't have her code or anything, and I let her stay in my room for a while with all her bags and stuff, and we just started talking. And it turned out she was watching Motherland like a few days prior to this, but she didn't recognize me because,
Yeah, well, your hair is different. Like, yeah.
Makeup and all that, and like the clothes, and you're not expecting to see that person in Oslo at a hotel speaking.
And then your language, of course, your accent probably threw her off too as well. So, we would probably think you were from America. Watching the show, they don't know anything about you. Oh, she's an American woman,
Hopefully.
No, really. That's exactly the perception from someone who is learning you from the show.
Oh, nice. Thanks.
Like I said, you are a very good actress. Very good.
Thank you so much.
I have one more question for you. This conversation is going so well, but I know you got things to do. So
this is like, I've just had an amazing time with you. You're amazing at this, and you're just making me feel really comfortable and open, and I don't even know what I've been saying and what I've been sharing, but I hope it was good.
You are now in the twilight zone.
Yeah. Okay.
So 3 things that you would want your fans to know about you.
That I'm
think about it. No, you got time. Think about it.
okay. Yeah, I'll take my time because I really want to, probably this, that I'm like really trying to get out my most genuine answers from whenever there's a question. So sometimes that leads to no answer because I just didn't find it when I was digging in my brain. So that's probably one of them, like when I don't respond to a tweet or things like that. That can be one of the reasons for that. And that I believe in the good of people. Like I really do believe that most people are good with good intentions, and if people would just be loved enough and comforted enough, there wouldn't be much anger or war out there. Like sometimes I just want, like, can that mean person just get a hug, like a proper hug, and like can someone just tell them that they're loved, because then they can stop like trying to put other people down to make themselves feel better. I just wish that, like, what kind of world would we live in if everyone felt content or better with themselves? Like,
you are very passionate. Passionate is definitely something about you. You are. I love it, man.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. What else?
You're very politically conscious as well. You know what's going on in the world.
Well, I've never enough, I'd say. Sometimes I have to cut the news out to just, like everyone has to, and I totally relate to that. And I feel like it's harder when you're, like you said before, like the more you learn, the more humble, or like the more you realize that you don't have the answers. And people who are putting their asses out there, like politicians, and just like, it's like they're asking to be roasted, and they're just going through all of that to try and make the world a better place. That's at least what I'm hoping that they're doing. And all of my friends who are who are professional politicians, I see their struggles. And of course, like 1 or 2 will get corrupted by power, but most of them are just passionate, really, really hardworking people who are putting their asses out there to try to make a better world. And that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some people think that it's healthy to have a little bit of despite spies for politicians, because that way you won't get fooled by them and all that. I don't know. I'm not really on board on that. I feel like we should know where the boundaries are. We should know where to draw a red line and be like, that's not okay. That was not a mistake. That was that cannot be a mistake because you've done it so many times, and you're actually trying to limit this group of people's rights or their freedoms and all that. And so there'll have to be hard pushbacks on that. But most of the time, I really think they're trying to do their best, and they're not there because they're corrupted and all that. Yeah. So.
Man. Well, to be honest, I want to say this. Y'all, I'm just a regular guy here in San Antonio, Texas. And the fact that this young lady actually took the time to even interview with me, it shows the humbleness, that she's her head's not in the clouds. Like, she's down to earth. Like, it just, all I can say is thank you.
Thank you. This is the best interview I've had. Like, I'm this
Really?
is wonderful. Yeah. That's really what I feel right now. And so I don't know how it felt the other times, but right now I 100% felt like this was wonderful. And thank you for all your curious questions, and like, yeah, it was so much fun. So thank you for this, and I wish you all the best with your page and your podcast and everything that you do. And I hope we get to chat again, like, for the next season or something.
Yes, y'all heard it. She said it. You can't take it back now.
I mean, if there's a season, please let there be a season 3.
I mean, or anything else. You might have other ventures and other movies, other shows.
Yeah,
the sky's the limit.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna let you get going with your day. Again, I appreciate you. And y'all, this is RadioActive. Peace. Enjoy your day.
Enjoy your day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.